I, 37 male, have been married to my wife, 36, for 12 years, and we also have 2 children. A couple of years ago, I was admittedly going through some mental health issues, and I lost myself physically. The work pressure was getting to me, and overall I just wasn't feeling great. I gained some weight, I wasn't going to the gym and eating a lot. Our intimate life rapidly declined, and my wife constantly turned down my advances. Deep down, I knew the issue was because she didn't find me attractive anymore. After asking her multiple times for the real reason for her rejections, she admitted that she couldn't find me attractive anymore, even though she loved me. That was the single most damaging statement anyone had ever said to me, and my wife instantly said she didn't mean it and apologized for saying it, but I told her it was okay. From then on, I started attending online therapy, which massively helped me. I started getting my diet in control and going to the gym. It's been a couple of years, and I am admittedly much healthier both mentally and physically compared to a couple of years ago. I'm the most physically fit I've ever been in my life. I've learned to not take work so seriously, which has helped me greatly. However, my wife's damaging statement still lives inside me. We've not had intimacy since that statement, and I've rejected it every time. I just don't feel emotionally safe around her. I've also struck up a friendship at work with a coworker, 35 female, who said she went through similar issues after she gave birth to her baby. Her husband made a similar damaging statement about her body, and it's lived in her mind ever since. She explained that was just not what love was, and it opened my eyes. My wife gained a lot of weight after giving birth to our children, but I still loved her and found her attractive when she gained weight, and I probably loved her even more then. My co-worker made me realise that my wife is not someone I want to be with when I'm older, when I have grey hair, when I have wrinkles, etc. Last night I told her I wanted to talk to her about something I was feeling. I just bluntly told her I was no longer in love with her. My wife was shocked and she started crying and instantly left the room. Seeing her cry like that made me feel really guilty. Was I the idiot? Should I have not said that? I'm not in love with her anymore. I just don't know how else I could have said that to my wife. You are the idiot. She didn't want to tell you. You pulled it out of her, then made yourself a victim. You're having an emotional affair with a co-worker. Your wife said she wasn't attracted to you, and it wasn't just due to weight, I'm guessing, but still loved you. I stayed with you through your struggles. You've gotten better, and now you just want to toss her aside because you're resentful, because she told you the truth that you asked for. Attraction comes and goes in long-term relationships. It's what you do during these times that defines you. Was your wife as disloyal as you've been? You should go grab her, hug her, and beg for forgiveness for being an idiot, to be honest. It's definitely an emotional affair, and it's going to be damn rich when OP figures out his co-worker is nothing special. She doesn't come with the responsibility and obligation of a spouse and family. Of course, she's irresistible. She's not asking you to change a diaper. Funny how OP thinks his co-worker has shown him the light that his wife isn't safe. Meanwhile, his wife stood by him this entire time, and where exactly was this co-worker before OP got his crap together? The second his affair partner wants more from him, he's gonna panic. Guaranteed. The OP is 100% having an emotional affair, yet he wants to try and justify it as a friendship. Yeah, okay, bud. Sure. How stupid does he think we are? People come on here and think they can say, my spouse hurt me, so I started talking to a friend at work, and they are everything I need. And we do not see right through that. His wife had to put up with this whole mental crisis, which is exhausting. I can almost promise you that gaining weight was not the only issue. Coming home and taking his work stress out on her was most possibly an issue. OP is dead wrong. And he knows he's wrong. That's why he's on here looking for emotional backup from strangers who tell him he's all great and stuff when he's such an idiot. People will always leave a partner who fills 90% of their needs for someone who fills the other 10% but lacks the 90%, and wonder why they're chronically unhappy after a year. It's a complicated situation. My husband is one of 4 children. The oldest child, Alice, is a stay-at-home mom to 5 children. The second son is a child-free gay man. The third child is his antenatalist sister, and my husband and I are child-free. Basically, one sibling has a lot of children, and the other 3 siblings don't have any children and mostly dislike children. My husband and his childless siblings are very close and they're partners. We all hang out regularly and we all like to host. They will not let Alice's children come to their homes at all. My husband's antenatalist sister just hates kids, and the kids have broken a bunch of stuff in his brother's house. I don't want the kids over at our house because if they come over, the other 2 siblings will make up an excuse to leave, and hanging out with Alice and her 5 kids without anyone I like being over just sounds really unappealing. Alice called me and said she's upset and feels excluded because we all hang out without her and post it on social media. She said she's feeling depressed and isolated, and she only ever interacts with her children. It's hard for me to be sympathetic because she chose this life for herself. Her family never pressured her into marrying young. They tried to talk her out of it. Father-in-law offered to pay for her college if she went. I said she's welcome to come over to the next thing I host if she leaves her kids at home with her husband. She said her husband can't watch them alone and she shouldn't have to leave them behind anyway. She said family should want to spend time with family. I told her she's the one who chose her lifestyle, and if she has a problem, she should take it up with her actual siblings, not her sister-in-law, and I'm done talking to her. I blocked her number because she kept texting me. Am I the idiot? Family gatherings? Maybe consider renaming. You are the idiot. Your family sounds like a bunch of insufferable bores. I feel so bad for the kids in this situation to be so openly hated by their aunts and uncles merely for existing. I'm childless, but I'm still good with my family members' kids and such. I would never dream of excluding them. You guys are awful. I say that as someone who's child-free as well. The whole "you chose this lifestyle" is just despicable behaviour on your part and her siblings' part. Pretty sure she knew what she was getting into kid-wise, but I'm pretty sure she didn't expect her siblings and husband to just leave her to drown. Every one of you is the idiot except sister-in-law and the kids. Her roommate needs to step up, and you guys need not be such idiots. I think everyone's the idiot here. She said her husband can't watch them alone. What? And why not? Why can't he do what so many other fathers do regularly? Being child-free and not wanting to be around misbehaving children is not wrong. Being a legit anti-natalist is disgusting. I can't help but wonder what kind of zoo OP's husband must have grown up in. 3/4 of them have an aversion to children, and one has kids on an annual basis. Something is really off. I'm wondering if Alice has to be caretaker to her siblings, and that's why they don't think of her as a peer. My 51 male parents, 75 male and 74 female, are workaholics and addicted to money. They love their jobs more than their children, so they sent me and my sister to live with our grandmother when we were 6 and 8. My sister, 49 female, moved out when she turned 18, and I continued to live with my grandmother until I graduated from college at 25 because I enjoyed living with her and also wanted to take care of her when she got sick. The thing is that a few months ago she died. She left everything to me, my sister, my wife, 34, and our children. A female pre-tween, a female young grammar schooler, a female preschooler, a female toddler, and an infant boy. But my sister only wanted one thing, and that was a necklace that belonged to my father's family for almost 2 centuries. My ancestors always gave those necklaces to their daughters-in-law when they gave birth to their first male child as a form of celebration because the family name would continue for at least one more generation. But my grandmother hated my mother and never gave it to her. She only kept it because she hoped I would give it to my wife, and I did. I gave the necklace to my wife when our son was born and never told my sister. And when she saw my wife wearing it, she lost her mind. She accused me of being greedy and selfish. Also, she accused me of having stolen such a precious family jewel to give it to a whore. She always hated my wife because she didn't agree with our grandmother adopting the daughter of the nurse who took care of her as another granddaughter. According to her, it was unfair that she loved my wife more than her, but my grandmother loved her because my wife was always there for her. My sister, on the other hand, rarely visited her after moving, and when her children were born, she never taught them our grandmother's language so they could communicate, and that hurt her because she loved communicating with my children, who do know her language. Long story short, I don't think I did anything wrong by giving that jewel to my wife, but suddenly my sister and even my parents believe that I should return that jewel because it's something that my sister wants to keep as a memory of her grandmother. But I don't care. Am I the idiot? Edit, my grandmother adopted my wife as her granddaughter symbolically, not literally. Not the idiot. It was your grandmother's necklace and she chose who she wanted it to go to. It might be a family heirloom. I can see why your sister would be upset about that, but ultimately it isn't her decision. She also didn't make an effort to be closer to your grandmother. Though she might be regretting it now, a necklace she somehow feels entitled to isn't going to make it better. She also went too far by calling your wife a whore. I feel like she needs to sort her emotions out, and none of this is your fault. Your grandmother's wishes were met. End of story. Just reread your post. Grandma dies a while ago and leaves everything to you and your sister. Your sister only wants one necklace and tells you to keep everything else. You kept everything and later gave the necklace to your wife 2 months ago, knowing full well your sister wanted it, which is why you didn't tell her. You are the idiot. Give your sister her necklace back. Greedy? I wish more people would read what he actually wrote. His sister had one thing she wanted and said he could have literally everything else in the estate. The OP takes everything and gives away the one thing she wants. He's also a creep with the age difference with his wife. I guarantee that if we heard the sister's side, it would be very different from the OP's version. He's a huge idiot. My stepsister and I, both teen female, used to be close. We became stepsisters at 6, and even though I never called her just my sister, I always thought of her as one of my best friends and a part of my family. The only source of conflict we ever had was my dad's family. They never took my sister on as their family, and when I go to visit them, she'd get upset about it. She always felt that wasn't fair. My dad died, and his family stayed in my life and loved me and made sure I had more people to love me. But her mom left her, and so did her mom's family. I know it made her jealous, and I know we've fought about it before. She'd begged me to let her come along, but I always felt a little uncomfortable with that, so I never asked. 2 months ago, my stepsister wanted us to go to this convention an hour from where we live. She never said anything and bought the tickets online without asking her dad or me. That same weekend, I had plans to visit my great-grandma for her birthday and was spending the night with her and my grandparents. When she did mention the convention, it was about 3 days before, and I refused to cancel seeing my family to go with her. She told me she really wanted us to go and I could see my family anytime. I told her my great-grandma is older and I might not get to see her anytime because she's in and out of the hospital a lot. That weekend, while I was gone, my stepsister found the DVD my dad had made for me before he died, which was his last goodbye to me. It was my comfort item. I had it in my room on my desk because I wanted it to be safe. My stepsister broke the disc and tossed it in the trash in the mall before I got back. I went to watch it that night and it was gone. I told my mom and I was pretty hysterical. That's when she and my stepdad figured out what happened and I realized after. I told my stepsister I hated her. I would never let her be my family again and we would never be friends again. She started crying and apologizing and I told her it didn't matter because she was dead to me. My mom took me for ice cream to try to calm me down and cheer me up, and my stepsister was grounded when I got back. Things have not blown over. I refuse to forgive her. I ignore her and make sure she's not allowed to touch me. I leave the room if she comes in. I ignored her at school too. She was getting more and more upset. My mom and stepdad asked me to work on forgiving her and I said never. They now want us to go to therapy together and I said no. I told them I wouldn't go willingly and even if they made me, I wouldn't take part in the therapy. I said they could waste money if they wanted to, but I was not going to let her fix this. I told them I wish she was never part of my life, that I really hated her, and I hope she ended up miserable and never got over the guilt of what she did because I will never forget. My mom and stepdad got mad at me for refusing and said I needed to learn to forgive. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Therapy can't fix everything. And it can't fix anything that you're not ready and willing to work on. She destroyed your goodbye from your father, and you may never get past that. This is one of those things where forgiveness isn't even on the table. She broke the one thing you had left of your dad. She burned that bridge, not you. Unfortunately, the stepsister went for the nuclear option and is now upset that she's experiencing nuclear fallout. Some things in life you simply can't take back. Losing the last living memory of your father is one of them. That said, OP, do you still have the disc? Is there a possibility of a backup? As for the parents, tell them simply, if stepdad or mom cheated on you and then beat you, could therapy fix your relationship? I don't understand why she's jealous of OP and thinks it isn't fair she lost her dad but not her dad's family. I mean, life isn't fair. If it was, OP would have her dad and her sister would have her mom in her life. Taking what her mother did out on OP and making OP just like her, where she will never hear her parents' voice ever again, is cruel and so misplaced. What did she imagine OP would do? Cry and then realize how wrong she was to honor a commitment that was important to her, rather than go with step to something she didn't know Sis had planned? There was literally only one way this would end, and now she's living with it. My husband and I are in a tough spot financially. We bought a house last year and got into debt fixing it up. He also has some properties he rents out on Airbnb and has to make some big expenses to fix up some of his properties this month. We agreed to a 40-60 split on joint expenses when we bought this house, but now he wants me to pick up more of the mortgage payment. I can do that, but for me, that means that I have to rebudget my lifestyle to make it work. So I said I would agree to the new mortgage payment split if we can each buy our own food. Most of our grocery list is extras that he buys. I was okay footing 40% of $800 a month when we agreed on the split, but now that finances are tighter, this spending category is the biggest place where I could make this work. He got really angry and shouted at me. He said that it feels like we're roommates and that I'm the idiot for balking when I feel financial pressure. I feel like I'm trying to keep my head above water and I've tried to compromise. We have a joint checking account and pay all of our joint expenses out of it. We agreed on the 40-60 split based on income. Our expenses come out to a little under $7,000 a month, so I direct deposit 40% of it. The Airbnbs are all his business, and we agreed initially that it's all financially his. I help him out with cleaning and moving stuff. Am I the idiot? Poor guy stuck between giving up one of his multiple homes or paying for his Pringles and craft beer. If he's struggling to meet his share, why isn't he selling one of his multiple other properties? Do you have a prenup? Is the other property also in your name? Why would you subsidize his properties if you don't own them? It's so heartbreaking to see an Airbnb landlord struggling. Think of what they offer to the community. Turning a residential neighborhood into a commercial one by making a house a hotel, taking housing off the market for people to live in during a housing shortage. The struggle. He needs OP to shoulder more of the burden for his contributions to society, not to mention his net worth. LOL, right? This is classic landlord behavior, making other people pay for their lifestyle. She is doing free labor for him on property she will see no financial return on if they divorce, but he wants her to make more of a contribution, and that's insane to me. Why are you donating labor to his Airbnb business, whose income is all his? Maybe he needs to pay you, or maybe you need to quit that and get another job to cover expenses. It sounds like you're being taken advantage of.